Hello, it's Dr. Rhonda Johnson. Today is Tuesday, January 30th, 2024, and today I'm talking about long COVID clinical phenotypes. Well, I'm sharing information from an article that was published in Lancet.com in August of 2023. So researchers conducted a prospective multi-center study that was conducted from February 2020 to June 2022. This study is referred to as the Orchestra Study or the Orchestra Project, and it's a very detailed study that has many parts and generated a lot of data. I think it really adds to the knowledge base for long COVID and how it affects people. So the number of people enrolled in the study was 1,796. They came from 5 countries, all had a COVID infection. Some had a history of hospitalization and some did not. They were followed prospectively at 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months from the diagnosis of COVID infection. And the researchers looked at clinical features, biochemical features, their response to antibodies, their variant that they had, the physical and the mental quality of their lives. It was very comprehensive. So most importantly, what were their findings? Now, the researchers referred to long COVID as PCS, post-COVID-19 syndrome. So what they found was that at least 57% of the people in this study suffered from at least one symptom of long COVID at 12 months. They found that people with these persistent symptoms fell into 4 broad categories, which they called clinical phenotypes. Now, 42% had what they call chronic fatigue-like syndrome, characterized by fatigue, headache, and memory loss. 23% had respiratory symptoms, characterized by cough, shortness of breath, and breathing problems. 22% had chronic pain syndrome, which was characterized by what we call arthralgias or arthritis-like feelings, your bones ache, and myalgias, which is your muscles ache and your muscles might feel weak. And then 11% had neurosensory symptoms. That was an alteration in their taste and smell. Now, they teased out the data and they found that the risk factors for severe PCS or severe long COVID were 1, being female, 2, having gastrointestinal symptoms, and 3, having renal complications early in the course of infection. So 1, if you're female sex, if you've had gastrointestinal and renal complications early in the course of your infection, that's more likely to increase your risk of having severe PCS. They also found the decreased risk for severe PCS or decreased risk of long COVID that was severe in people who had been vaccinated, who had the COVID-19 vaccines, and who had had early treatment with monoclonal antibodies. So in conclusion, this study analyzes a lot of data, which is well beyond what I'm reporting here. The authors concluded that PCS or long COVID isn't just one type of sickness, but it can be split into 4 different types. Each type probably has its own causes and different factors that are linked to it. They concluded that getting treatment early and getting vaccinated helps lessen the severity of long COVID. So this supports the idea of getting a COVID vaccine, folks. Also, it clearly tells us that we need more research on treatments for people with COVID. I think it's real important that this study is reported on, because we know that even if this pandemic ever ends, many people will still suffer from long COVID well into the future. So we have to keep researching and we have to keep studying to find ways to help people with long COVID or PCS, post-COVID syndrome. That's my message today. As always, take care and be well, and I'll include the link to the study.